At first glance, this train station looks completely normal, but it quickly turns into a terrifying nightmare. A strange sound echoes from the tunnel, growing louder by the second. The mysterious vibration fills the air with pure fear. Among the crowd, Sebastian instantly feels something is terribly wrong, but his hesitation costs him precious time. Then, the impossible happens. People near the tunnel change, their eyes taking on a disturbing appearance. Without warning, they jump onto the tracks as if controlled by an invisible force. Even as a speeding train approaches, they walk toward it with zero fear. Panic erupts through the station. Sebastian almost falls onto the tracks during the chaos but barely manages to escape death. Before he can process the nightmare, his wife calls, urgently begging him to come home immediately and pick up their daughter, Anna, from school. However, by the time he leaves the station, the disaster has already spread across the entire city. This is only the beginning of a much darker nightmare. As Sebastian rushes toward his office, the horrifying phenomenon becomes even worse. Right before his eyes, several co-workers suddenly lose control and take their own lives without any warning. The terrifying sight leaves him frozen, but survival instincts quickly take over, and he runs outside. The city has transformed into complete chaos. A man falls from a building and crashes onto Sebastian's car, destroying it instantly. Everywhere, people are screaming, vehicles are crashing, and fires are breaking out across the streets. Knowing his daughter is alone, Sebastian ignores the danger and races toward her school. When he arrives, the place looks like a total disaster zone. Staff members are dead, the building is burning, and frightened children are trapped in confusion. Sebastian finds Anna, pulls her close, and protects her through the wreckage. While escaping, a priest stops them, calmly claiming these horrifying events are actually a divine blessing. Sebastian refuses to listen. He walks away with Anna, unaware that an even greater tragedy awaits them ahead. Just when Sebastian believes the worst is over, fate delivers another devastating blow. As he and Anna navigate the chaotic streets, he spots his wife and rushes forward. But before they can embrace, a speeding car crashes into her, killing her instantly. 9 months pass, and society has completely collapsed. Sebastian now spends his days protecting Anna while searching for food and shelter. One day, they take refuge inside an abandoned skate park, hoping for peace. But that hope disappears when they hear suspicious noises. They run, only to be surrounded by a group of blind thieves who steal their remaining food. Sebastian wants to fight back, but Anna stops him before the situation becomes deadly. He later realizes she was right. They weren't evil, just starving and desperate. Soon after, a radio broadcast delivers a terrifying warning. Strange creatures have appeared outside, and anyone who looks directly at them loses their mind and ends their own life. Sebastian and Anna cover their eyes before stepping back into the deadly world. After hearing the radio warning, Sebastian realizes survival depends on one rule: never look at the mysterious creatures. He and Anna blindfold themselves, moving carefully through the dangerous streets by relying only on sound. Hungry and exhausted, Sebastian approaches a small group of blindfolded survivors to ask for food. At first, they don't trust him. In this broken world, every stranger is a threat. To convince them, Sebastian reveals he is an engineer who knows where to find a generator for electricity and heat. Before the group can decide, a strange energy moves toward them. The air grows heavy, signaling the creatures are nearby. With no time to argue, they take Sebastian and Anna and quickly escape. The survivors lead them to a hidden shelter where many people live together. A man notices Sebastian is injured and sends him to a doctor named Liliana. She treats his wounds and gives him food, finally allowing him to rest. That night, everyone gathers around a fire as an old blind man begins a terrifying story about the creatures outside. As everyone sits around the fire, an elderly blind man shares his horrifying experience. He explains that he escaped the mysterious creatures by blinding himself before they could control his mind. He also reveals that the creatures mark certain people with an eye-shaped symbol on their foreheads. His story leaves the group terrified, but Sebastian remains unusually quiet. Later, while the survivors sleep inside an old bus, Sebastian suddenly starts the engine. Liliana wakes up, but he calmly replies that everything will be fine. Instead of stopping, he accelerates and drives straight through the camp. The terrified survivors try to stop him, but the bus crashes and flips over. The violent accident leaves everyone trapped just as the creatures arrive. One survivor looks and takes his own life. Sebastian forcefully makes another look, sealing her fate too. too. Panic turns into a massive explosion. As flames rise, Sebastian witnesses something that convinces him he is carrying out a sacred mission rather than committing terrible crimes. As the fire dies down, Sebastian believes he sees glowing souls rising from the victims toward the sky. Anna appears beside him, praising his actions and telling him he is saving people. Then, a shocking truth is revealed. Anna is no longer real. She exists only inside Sebastian's mind, pushing him further into darkness. Convinced he is doing the right thing, Sebastian wanders through an abandoned building and discovers several people hanging helplessly from a wall. One man is barely alive. With his final strength, the survivor warns Sebastian that the creatures are actually monsters destroying humanity. But Sebastian refuses to believe him, gently closing the man's eyes while imagining his soul rising to heaven. Leaving without guilt, Sebastian encounters a blindfolded woman named Claire entering a pharmacy. Using his old story, he claims he knows where a working generator is. Two of Claire's suspicious companions arrive, but the approaching creatures force everyone to escape together toward a hidden shelter. The group quickly reaches a secured underground bunker where many survivors are hiding. Inside, Sebastian meets several new people, including a young German girl named Sophia. For the first time, there is a brief sense of safety. Claire even shares chocolate with Sophia, bringing a rare moment of happiness to this broken world. But peace doesn't last long. Survivors Rafa and Octavio question Sebastian's story about the generator. They don't trust him and want him thrown out immediately. As tensions rise, Anna's voice appears in Sebastian's mind again, telling him to manipulate the group. Controlled by her influence, Sebastian admits he lied about the generator. The group becomes furious and prepares to kick him out. Before they can act, Sophia unexpectedly speaks in German. Nobody understands her except Sebastian, who translates her words and claims she is begging them not to send him away. Her sudden intervention changes their decision. Instead of removing Sebastian, they keep him to learn more about Sophia's mysterious past. Sophia begins to reveal her past. With Sebastian translating, she explains how everything started when panic broke out in the city and people jumped into a river out of fear. During the chaos, she and her mother hid inside a van, where they heard a radio message about a safe place located in the mountains. Later they tried to reach that safe zone, but they had to blindfold themselves. In the confusion, Sophia became separated from her mother and never saw her again. The story deeply affects everyone, especially Claire, who explains that she was the one who found Sophia and brought her here. The group debates whether they should go to the mountain castle. Sebastian strongly supports the idea, but Roberto disagrees, warning that it is a suicide mission. After a vote, the majority decides to go. That night, Sebastian becomes increasingly influenced by Anna's voice. Under her control, he secretly cuts the ropes of the dogs, preparing for chaos ahead. The next morning, chaos erupts inside the bunker. The creatures arrive, instantly triggering fear and hallucinations among the survivors as each person relives their deepest trauma. Claire is overwhelmed by memories of her brother's death, while Sophia hears her mother's voice calling her to remove her blindfold. The mental pressure becomes unbearable. Rafa loses control while searching for his dogs. In desperation, he removes his blindfold, looks directly at the creatures, and takes his own life. Elsewhere, Roberto is badly injured by one of the dogs, which are now under the creature's influence. Panic spreads rapidly through the group. Octavio tries to guide everyone to safety, but it's already too late. Isabel helps Roberto while arguing that the creatures manipulate emotions and memories. Octavio forms a theory that these entities feed on human fear and reshape reality based on it. Surviving requires not just physical protection, but control over their minds and emotions, which is becoming harder with every passing moment. As the survivors struggle to stay alive, Sebastian grows distant, controlled by Anna's voice. He quietly manipulates situations, pushing events in a dark direction. Meanwhile, Claire grows suspicious of Sebastian's past after noticing the name Anna on Sophia's pendant. Claire confronts him, asking who Anna really is. Sebastian avoids answering, but his silence speaks volumes. As a psychiatrist, Claire explains that his experiences may not be real. She warns him that the creatures manipulate human minds by creating illusions of lost loved ones, feeding on guilt and trauma. However, Sebastian struggles to accept this. In his mind, Anna tells him not to trust Claire. The conflict between reality and illusion shatters his mental balance. Meanwhile, Roberto's dog bite infection worsens rapidly, forcing the group to urgently search for antibiotics. Claire, Sebastian, and Octavio decide to leave the bunker blindfolded. The situation turns deadly as they split up inside an abandoned building, where every sound could mean death. Inside the abandoned building, the search for medicine quickly turns into another nightmare. Claire moves through a supply room while Sebastian and Octavio search elsewhere. Octavio eventually finds food, but there is still no sign of antibiotics. Tension rises as Roberto's condition worsens by the minute. Suddenly, Anna's voice returns to distract Sebastian. He loses focus and accidentally misleads Octavio, telling him everything outside is safe. But Octavio notices a window left open. Without hesitation, he removes his blindfold for just a second, and that single mistake changes everything. The creatures immediately overwhelm him. Driven into madness, Octavio grabs a knife and repeatedly stabs himself until he collapses. Sebastian watches in shock. For the first time, he does not see a soul rising from the body, deeply shaking his beliefs. Claire rushes in and urges Sebastian to leave immediately. The group regathers, but the loss of Octavio leaves everyone devastated, while Sebastian begins questioning everything about the creatures and his own actions. After Octavio's death, the group is completely shaken. Claire returns with the antibiotics and gives them to Isabel to treat Roberto's worsening infection, but trust inside the group is falling apart. Everyone begins questioning Sebastian's role in the chaos. Claire notices Sebastian sitting alone, clearly disturbed. She explains to Isabel that he believes Octavio died because of his mistake, leaving him overwhelmed with guilt. But Sebastian's mind is far from calm. Anna's voice returns, accusing him of losing faith and questioning his decisions. Sebastian begins to break mentally. He admits that maybe he is not a savior at all, but someone who brings destruction instead of protection. This marks a shift as doubt replaces certainty. As the group prepares to continue, they step outside only to face people already under the creature's influence. These controlled humans act violently. Among them is a familiar face, the priest Sebastian once met, now completely transformed and leading others. The danger grows more intense, and survival becomes even more uncertain. Outside the bunker, chaos reaches a new level. The survivors are surrounded by aggressive seers, controlled by the creatures. Escape is becoming extremely difficult. Claire, Sophia, and Sebastian move forward, but tension grows. Claire notices inconsistencies in Sebastian's behavior. When she finds his protective goggles, she realizes something disturbing. Sebastian might be connected to the creatures in a deeper way than anyone imagined. Claire suspects his actions caused multiple deaths, including Octavio and Rafa. She quickly pulls Sophia away, determined to protect the child. Meanwhile, Sebastian hears Anna's voice pushing him toward more extreme actions, telling him only a few more deaths are needed to complete everything. As fear spreads, Claire tries to lead Sophia to higher ground, but the environment becomes unstable and confusion increases. In a sudden accident, Claire slips and falls during the escape, leaving Sophia exposed and alone with Sebastian, raising the stakes to a critical point in their survival struggle. Now Sophia is left in the most dangerous situation of all, alone and face-to-face with Sebastian. Anna's voice becomes stronger than ever, pushing him to remove Sophia's blindfold and complete his mission. For a moment it looks like he might give in, but something inside him finally breaks through the illusion. Instead of harming Sophia, Sebastian hesitates, then gently embraces her. This small act changes everything. He feels human again, as if waking from a nightmare. A flashback reveals the truth. 7 months earlier, his daughter Anna died after being forced into a deadly situation by the priest. The trauma allowed the creatures to control his mind, making him believe he was saving souls while causing destruction. Back in the present, Sebastian fully realizes the truth. Wanting only to protect Sophia, he sacrifices himself, holding back enemies so Claire and Sophia can escape. Sebastian passes away peacefully, while Claire and Sophia safely reach the mountain castle, where real survivors finally exist. If you enjoyed this full movie recap, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more mind-bending thriller breakdowns.